John Shepard.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, John.
And I love your show.
Thank you.
I love Burgh Vivant.
Thank you for being a fan.
I think you're the Pittsburgh Noel Coward.
I love that. So you're a professor of drama here at Point Park University. Are we still doing film classes?
Yep,
or?
I teach acting for the camera, and I also teach directing, which you were also in my advanced directing class.
Yeah.
In fact, in my bio for heads, I acknowledge the fact that what I think was one of my proudest achievements here at Point Park since I've been here for, I guess this is my 14th year. One of my proudest achievements are the hundreds of one-acts, or over 100 one-acts that I produced for the One Act Festival, and the dozens of students that I mentored throughout those years, and you're one of them. We now have this gorgeous TV studio downtown.
I know. This has been like a banner couple of years for Point Park University.
Park has just sort of bloomed. And we're building a new theater, supposedly, soon.
So it's a great time to be associated with Point Park University.
It is, yeah.
And you came here from Los Angeles, correct?
Well, originally I'm from Los Angeles, and I went back to school for my MFA at Cal State University Long Beach in my 40s because I'd had a career as an actor and I wanted to teach.
And you've had a very extensive career in film, television as well.
No, I'm not that extensive, but yeah, I did a lot of TV.
I love sneakers. Okay, I do, and I'm sure you've done larger bodies of work than
I have. I had my moment with Robert Redford.
Yes.
And River Phoenix.
But here in Pittsburgh, in addition to teaching, you've been very busy acting and directing.
Yes, I've been very lucky here, and I'll tell you, Pittsburgh is, it's even better now with Burgh Vivant. But the cultural scene in Pittsburgh is just extraordinary for the size of city that we are, and it's actually, they say, it's the second busiest theater city in the country per capita in terms of equity theaters.
And it has the most bars per capita. Do you think that there's a relation?
Oh, I know there's a relation.
Yeah. Do good actors make good directors?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but I think good directors have been actors, or at least understand the process. Directing, you can only really learn how to direct by directing. So, I think my approach to teaching directing is making sure that the students are always engaged in directing on some level, whether it's just an improv in class or something as formal as we did with the one acts.
Do you find one of the two more fulfilling these days, acting versus directing?
That's a great question. I've been lucky enough to do both, and I think it depends on the project. Sometimes it's like I want to just act, and sometimes I want to just direct. I've been doing more directing, which is great, and I love it. So it depends. I mean, I'm sort of like, it's a nice problem to have.
So the show that you're working on now is Heads. Here at the Pittsburgh Playhouse, production of The Rep.
It's a story about these four characters in Iraq in 2004 who've been taken prisoner, and none of them are military. So it's a story about these four prisoners in these two separate cells, ostensibly in this one warehouse. The cells are not adjoining, and they're not even necessarily close together. But it's a play about intimacy in these awful circumstances. And this is, because it's March of 2004, it was before this became a routine. In other words, it was the beginning of the insurgents taking, prisoners for ransom and things like that. So it wasn't really well established then, and it doesn't turn out well, and it's pretty intense. But it is a story about intimacy in these kinds of awful circumstances.
And it's in an intimate space. It'll be in the studio theater.
In the studio theater, and the audience is certainly part of that intimacy. It's a very intimate space. There's like 67 seats, something like that. And all we have are two cells, and that's one of the challenges of directing it, is certainly that I don't have lots of furniture or props. Literally, one cell has a little cot with a mattress, the other cell has no furniture, each cell has a blanket, and each cell has two buckets.
So do you feel that's been your greatest challenge on this particular piece?
Yeah, one of them, certainly. the other one is kind of making it poetic to somehow take this just nightmare and somehow give it a grace or a poetry. And so that's sort of been another challenge of the play.
Tell me about your actors.
Oh, I have a great cast. I mean, it is a tour de force acting piece. I have James Fitzgerald, who's playing the engineer. He's an actor who's been in town now for a few years. Went through our grad program, and is working all over town. Diana Ift. Do you know Diana?
I know of her. I've not had the pleasure of meeting her, but
Diana plays the British Caroline Conway, the British embassy worker. She's terrific, and I think this is going to be it sounds like a cliche, but a real breakthrough role for her. Patrick Cannon, who played George Gibbs in Our Town that I did at the Public. He played my son, and he's playing the photographer, this young sort of hotshot photographer. And then Tony Bingham, you know Tony, is playing the broadcast journalist from Hartford, who's sort of been in Iraq for 3 weeks, and he's trying to make a name for himself. And when I read the book, I found myself not breathing. It's so, you know what I mean? It just keeps you on edge that you don't even breathe. And then when you finish it, we all know about the horror of war, or we think we do. And he brings, the great thing about the novel is he brings it in so close to the war from the soldier's perspective, and he leaves you with such an ambivalent feeling about the war, and we're asking these brave young people to go do these things, and they, what they encounter is just mind-boggling. And the point is that anybody associated with war, anybody touched by war, I think goes through similar kinds of things. So I'm hoping the audience walks away with that kind of ambivalence about, my God, what have we done?
We encourage everybody to get out to see Heads
at
opening
the Playhouse.
January 31st.
That was a good take.
Oh yeah,
both of us. Did my book come out when you were?
Oh yeah. Okay, I was going to get to the book.
Oh. I'm shameless. He said, John Shepard was the best actor in the movie. And I'm like, huh?
You were a professional.
I
say
was a professional.
Was. But
I was.
I didn't mean to phrase it that way, but. Do they still make you audition?
Oh, yeah.
Now, certainly, an actor of your caliber at this point in your career, they just call you and say, here, we want a John Shepard type for this. Why not get John Shepard?
With that famous story about, I want a John Shepard type, and, well, that was John Shepard. Oh.
Do you have anything coming up that might feature, say, a Noel Coward / Paul Lynde type?
I have to find one. By God. I love comedy. It's hard, though.
Dying is easy, comedy is hard.
You got it. Well, it's not pornographic.
Please continue.